Alright, it is 8:41 in the morning. I'm at the Palm Springs Airway tram station parking lot, and today I'm planning on doing the snowshoeing route up Mount San Jacinto from the mountain station of the tram. So that should only be like a less than 6 mile hike, because if you snowshoe, apparently if there's enough snow, you just YOLO your way up the mountain on kind of the more gentle approaches, but you get to cut a lot of the switchbacks because there's snow covering the shrubbery. So you just kind of like gently walk over the snow, over the shrubs, so you're not hurting any of the plants. And I looked at the topo maps, it looks pretty doable. I'm not sure about the snow conditions though, so what I'm probably going to do is talk to the ranger about what the situation is like with the snow, because if the snow has like avalanche danger or something, then I might not go all the way up, or I might take the normal hiking route and just use my crampons. So I also have my backpacking backpack. I've got hiking poles with the snow thingy-mabobbers on there. I've got crampons, there's snowshoes in there, which is why I'm taking the backpacking backpack, because last week I came here for recon and I had a regular hiking day pack, and I strapped the snowshoes on the outside and I knew it threw off a lot of my balance, so I don't want to do that again. So this way I can get the snowshoes close to my body in case I don't use them. So we'll see. If I do the regular trail hike, then it's gonna be like a 12-mile round trip, but if I do the snowshoeing, then it's only a 6-mile round trip, so it halves the distance if I snowshoe, if the conditions are right. So we'll see. The plan is I finish getting ready here, take the short walk to the station, and then the tram's like about 10 minutes up, and then we'll decide what to do there. So I'll plan on talking to the ranger a bit, see if everything's cool. I've got headlamps, I've got blankets. I feel like I'm overgaming it because I'm bringing my biggest backpacking backpack to fit the snowshoes in, but I didn't want to try to summit with the balance being that much off. I'm not going to take a lot of risk. If I don't summit, I don't summit. It's just trying out my equipment. Last week I learned that you don't wear loose pants with crampons, because I kept hooking the crampons on my pants when I lost concentration, so I tore a hole in my pants. Also almost tripped, so I wore thermal tights this time. I don't know if they're warm enough. We will see. Again, if things kind of get weird, I'll just turn around and come back. It's not a huge deal. So yeah, I'm gonna finish getting ready and then I'm gonna start going up. Also put a glove on that right hand because it is freezing to death right now.
Windows have to stay open on each side, folks, for ventilation. That's a requirement. And be traveling 20 miles per hour here in a moment. Enjoy the ride.
So once the tram starts going, the cabin is going to rotate 360 degrees, I think probably around twice, so you get to see a lot of different views as the cabin's going up. So before you even start hiking, you get some amazing views. Now once you get to the mountain station, there's a short downhill walkway before you get to the trails. Alright, so to start, there's a concrete walkway, which is mostly clear of snow and ice. Still gotta be careful in patches though. Alright, I just came out of the station and the crampons are already on because everywhere is hard packed snow. It's very slippery. Oh, there's a snowman over there. Check it out. Oh, look at that snowman. Yeah. I've already put the crampons on because the slip and slide show already started happening right at the bottom of the ramp because there's just snow ice buildup. It is a lot more snow than last week, and the ranger was telling me that it was like 6 inches towards the peak. So I think I'm gonna try to make a snowman when I come back. So the plan now is I'm gonna go to the ranger station, fill out a backcountry pass, ask them about the snowshoeing route, and then go from there and see if I want to take the long route that's for the regular hikers, or if that's safer versus the snowshoe route if there's enough snow on it. Snowshoe route is also 6 miles shorter, so we will see. I've got enough time for both hikes, and I'm planning on, because of the snow and the icy conditions, I'm planning on equal amounts of time up and down this time, because it might actually be harder coming down. I want to make sure I have enough time coming back after dark. Got 2 headlamps, got another layer for in case it rains, which not a cloud in the sky, so it's not going to rain, so it's really just for additional heat. And I kind of know the first mile already. I haven't seen the rest, so we will see. So yeah, go to the ranger station. All right, here's the trail. Last week you could still see a trail. This week, just snow. But the trail is back here. If I didn't hike it last week, I don't think I would have known where it was, but it's somewhere around those trees. So let's go. Huh. There's a path this way and a path this way. I think it's this way. Double check the map. All right, so I am about 3/4 of a mile in. It's been a climb since the ranger station, but it's been net downhill since the tram station. But since I am starting from the ranger station, I've done some climbing, not a lot. So I got to the split for the snowshoeing route versus the regular hiking route, and I immediately started sinking into powder. And there was kind of a bit of an incline, and it wasn't as nice, even snow as I had anticipated. Or I guess even just like a nice layer of snow over a hill, I probably would have been a little bit more comfortable with. But it was snow, debris, slight incline, super powdery, so I couldn't go on with my crampons. I would have to have put on my snowshoes. And since I've never snowshoed before, I wasn't comfortable going out that route. I know it's like 6 miles shorter, but I feel pretty good with the crampons today on the regular hiking trail because it's actually easier that there's broken in snow, that I wasn't like slipping around rocks like last week when I was here. Let me show you what the trail looks like. All right, so there's a broken in path of snow going up. There's been some switchbacks. I'm not sinking in super lots, and I'm getting good grip on my crampons because I have these guys. So there's a whole inch right there. Grips really well. Of course, it's heavy, so the feet feel a little bit weird and I can't walk as fast. And of course, I'm also lugging snowshoes in my backpack. When I weighed it with not all of it fully packed, it was 21 pounds. So with the additional liter of water that I put on and the rain jacket, I'm estimating 25 pounds on the pack. So they're quite heavy. Maybe 1 pound of it came off to the crampons I put on my foot. I did talk to the ranger. He advised against the snowshoe route because it's not a trail, it's not maintained. Also, it's not broken in. It's actually quite difficult to snowshoe. So I've decided I'm just gonna do the regular trail that's broken in a little bit and it's easier with the crampons on it. I'm gonna stop for a snack because I'm actually getting a little bit hungry, and then I am gonna keep going. So let's see, the last tram rides out at 9 p.m. Kind of don't want to cupo around in the dark, so I think what I'll do is wherever I am at 2 o'clock, I'm going to turn around and come back. Even 3 o'clock's kind of pushing it because it's 6 miles all the way back, so 2 o'clock is the turnaround time today. Alright, this is the first obstacle in the trail. So the trail goes straight forwards, but as you can see from the tree in the way, along with the bark that came off the tree and the branches, this was a pretty recent fall. I don't think I can climb over that, so it looks like you go around it. It's like a whole line of trees in the way. Yeah, I'm gonna try that way. I don't know if I want to snowshoe up that. It's actually kind of steep. I'm not gonna die if I fall because I'll just land here or hit one of these banks. I'm gonna try going up that way along the trees and go around and then meet back up with the trail. It just kind of sucks. I gotta go up and then come back around, and then I don't even know if that's broken in on the other side. I'll look up there, get a better vantage point up there, and then make decisions. So I went around this tree by going up that way, and then I didn't want to fall on these pokey bits, so I decided to come down this way. I got snow all the way up my knees almost, and there's probably some in the boots. I don't have any gaiters. I was having issues finding gaiters that would fit, so I just decided not to have gaiters. So I'm back on the broken in trail now, but you can definitely feel the difference between the packed in path that people have walked and the soft powder that would be really fun to play in, but I'm trying to hike, so I don't really want to get in on that action too much. So I think I'm probably on the tail end of the people actually ascending, because if nothing stopped you before, that down tree is going to stop you if you don't have any aggressive crampons or snowshoes. Looks like I'm doing most of the 6-mile hike up, there might be a point closer to where the campsites are in Round Valley that I can take a shortcut through the campsites. We'll see, I don't know. The danger is if I go that way and then I don't like the shortcut way up, I'll have to turn back around, which doesn't mean turn back around and join back on the main path. It means turn back around, go back to the car. So I'm debating whether or not I want to take that risk, because I'm doing pretty okay on the regular trail right now, going 40-50 minute miles. Aside from that down tree, so far it hasn't been super technical. If I pick the wrong choice, then I don't get to go to the summit today. Not end of the universe. Kind of a bummer, because that'll make it 3 different times I've been here that I haven't made it to the summit. Granted, last week I really wasn't trying to get to the top. It's my first season that I really went looking for snow. So I think when I started hiking last year in May, it's not even last year in May, it's 6 months ago. Yeah, when I started hiking 6 months ago up mountain, this mountain on the other side, I didn't think I was going to come back in the snow, because even a little snow would scare me. But now it's just a matter of being prepared and being smart and being conservative, because I'm still kind of not very experienced in this, so playing it safe is better. But then of course I also hear people who are like, you can't live your whole life afraid. So I'm conquering the afraid of snow in the mountains part, but maybe not the taking too much risk where I can slide off a mountain kind of hike. The slope is actually not that bad. If it wasn't for the high elevation and the gigantic 25-pound pack that I'm carrying in my back, it'd probably be pretty nice. All right, I'm gonna keep going. All right, I'm 1.6 miles in, taking a break, sitting on a log, and I had to clean off the log of snow because I kept looking for something I could sit on that wasn't just covered in snow. And so I had to dig a little bit to get to some non-snowy surface to sit on. I'm just taking a break right now. I haven't seen anybody else come up and pass me. It's pretty quiet. There's 2 people that were coming down, so I guess maybe they started earlier this morning. Still haven't really decided whether or not I want to take the shortcut. Right now I don't see any good spots to take a shortcut, because it's always like it's snow that has kind of debris in the way, like trees and a river crossing, and then I got kind of steep, and I just didn't want to sink into the snow, and I don't know if I'm good enough to snowshoe up a hill that aggressive yet. So for now I'm still taking the more conservative 6-mile up route, and then I'll probably take the 6-mile route down. I might be a little bit more. Actually, no, I told myself I wouldn't hike down anything I wouldn't hike up. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna 100% trace the route that I came up back down. It's actually getting kind of warm, and we're kind of like in a flat area, so I think I'm gonna take my down puffy off. I have a merino wool layer and then a synthetic layer underneath, so it's kind of sweaty. So I might take the down off and put it in my backpack. And then I'm probably going to eat a snack right now too, because it's getting closer to lunchtime and I brought a lot of snacks, so I'm going to have some and then I'm going to keep going. All right, so I'm now 2 miles into the trail. I'm no longer sure where the trail is, because I don't think a lot of people made it past here. I saw 2 guys head up, and they were on the trail. I was just like up on a hill somewhere, sinking into the snow a little bit. And they're like, oh, she must be snowshoeing. And then they see that I just had crampons on when I caught up with them while they were taking a food break. So I think right now it is time to try out some snowshoeing. And the terrain is flat enough that I think I'd be comfortable snowshoeing for the first time. So let me just show you. So, you know, it's not perfectly flat, but it's not an uphill climb anyway, because we're supposed to be going that way. We'll see if I can make it up to that kind of a hill. Right now, I don't want to try that until I try the snowshoes going this way a little bit. Yeah, I gotta put them on first. So I'm gonna finish eating the snack, and then I'm gonna put on the snowshoes and hopefully not fall like an idiot. Still in Round Valley Campground. It's just kind of on the outskirts of it. I don't want to go in the parts where there's down trees, because it is really hard to maneuver over anything in these snowshoes. You still sink, but you sink less. On the other hand, you still slip. There's little crampon things on the bottom of these, but as I figured it out, I can't have a stance that's too wide on a slight incline, otherwise I'm going to start skiing down whichever leg I'm putting the weight on. So getting over little bits of downlogged are really hard. On the other hand, I'm no longer post holing. So I think at this point I am going to try the snowshoe part, because I honestly don't even know where the heck the trail is anymore. I shouldn't say that. I know where the trail is. It's just I'm not seeing the advantage of following the trail because it just hasn't been hiked enough that you're still sinking. So I'm going to try the snowshoe route, which involves, well, the back half of the snowshoe route, which involves cutting through Round Valley and then taking the upper trail instead of Wellman's Divide up to the summit. I'm getting used to these now. I just need to balance my weight. I haven't really had an issue stepping on my own snowshoes since the first couple of steps. I kind of got used to like the wider walk, or like the wider stance with my legs when I walk. I just can't let it go too wide on one direction, otherwise I'm going to start skiing. All right, I'm going to double check the map on exactly which of these directions I should go. I think ultimately I want to head that way, but there's a lot of debris in the way. So I think I see an outhouse roof over there, so I'm just going to head to there and then start plotting a course using Gaia GPS. Now, I did bring a backup battery, but what I've noticed on my phone is that because of the cold, the battery is draining a lot faster, so I don't know if my battery is also discharging at the same rate, so I need to be careful. Push comes to shove, I still have my paper map, but I like that the GPS is much more convenient, so I'm not even sure I could spot anything because there's so many trees. It's really hard to use the paper map. I would have turned back around already, so I'm going to double check the GPS and then head towards that outhouse first, and then I'm going to double check the GPS. Alright, so I just checked the map. Looks like I'm ending up on the trail up to Wellman's Divide anyway, so it's still a hill climb. The only reason I can tell it's sort of a trail is there were two guys that went that way, so I just kind of went behind them. So it looks like you gotta aggressively climb the hill either route you take. There's no super nice switchback, so I'm debating whether or not I want to cut to the trail up top. I think I'm gonna go with the regular trail, I guess. It's 12:21, so I still got an hour and a half to go, like 3.5 miles. This is not looking good. I don't think I'm gonna make summit today, so if I do go this way, I'm not gonna make summit. Well, not that I'm kind of comfortable snowshoeing, maybe I will cut through the middle. Because it looks like the fallen trees are a thing either way, so I'm going to go ahead and head for the snowshoe trail. And then turn around if things go bad. Because that's the only route to summit right now. Again, not married to getting to the summit for sure, so gonna try the snowshoe route. Alright, that bravado ended up in about a minute. Apparently, even on very gentle slopes, non-packed in fresh powder, not snowshoeable in my snowshoes. I don't think the treads on my snowshoes are aggressive enough, and I don't have a float in the back, so I immediately start sinking and sliding. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Wellman's Divide trail. At least that's packed in. I got that going for me. That might make the steepness a little bit easier to climb. At least no two snowshoers that already went that way just now, so I'm gonna go back on the regular route, because that snowshoeing route, not happening right now. Because this is what happened. Alright, so this is where I went splat. And then you can see my snowshoe is now buried in snow because I slipped. Back to the regular trail, which is over there somewhere. So I made my way back to the trail and encountered a lot of non-packed in snow. There had been hikers, but really not enough to pack the trail in so that it was easy to walk on. So there was a lot of post holing, but the views are great, so I kept going. All right, so it is 2.86 miles in. It's a lot. It's pretty exhausting. I don't think this is the altitude, because I felt altitude sickness before, and it's not the altitude sickness. Might be the less air, okay. But I am super tired lugging the snowshoes on my feet instead of the backpack. I mean, yeah, they were heavy in the backpack, but it is a lot harder to work. And there's still quite a lot of balancing involved even when you're in snowshoes because bits still crumble and you sink a little bit. So I'm probably using a lot of balancing muscles because I'll like kind of slide on the side, and I don't think my snowshoes are rated for incline. So what I've noticed is that the cleats are kind of not as aggressive. It's angled so that it prevents slipping when you push off on the toe. Is nice, but it's not enough for if there's an incline. Because then I just have like the bit at the top and then the bit at the side is a lot less aggressive than the crampons that I have. So I'm sliding a little bit. It's still going better than when I tried going off trail to meet up with the higher trail. Because I, one, don't think I have the right snowshoes for that. Two, I don't think I'm in shape for that. And I'm not quite sure I'm in shape for this thing because it's past 1 o'clock now. I am just shy of 3 miles, 2.88 miles where I'm at. So I don't think I'm making summit today. There was an extra hour I could have had if I just woke up a little bit earlier. There's that. Also, I'm just going too slow. So I think what I'll do is I'll hit 3 miles. Maybe I'll hit Wellman's Divide just to see what that trail looks like. To see if I even want to attempt that in the snow. Probably not in like deep winter, but maybe early spring just to avoid the crowds. I might want to do that, but I want to see if I can get high up enough just to eyeball that trail to see if I need to get a different kind of snowshoe, because I'm not sure these ones will be good for anything smaller than a 4-foot wide trail, to the point where if I got 4-foot safe area where I'm not going to step off to my death. I don't mind sliding a little bit and falling, but I mind if it's like, blip, you fall off the hill. So it looks like it's up there somewhere, like up that way. So what happens when I get to Wellman's Divide is I take a hard right, which is that direction, and then head towards the summit that way. So I think it's, I don't know if it's exactly that peak up there, but it's in that direction generally. This is not turning into a summit day because I am not turning into a missing 411 or a Mr. Ballin story where I disappear off the mountain. The ranger this morning was not pulling punches. Like, he's just telling us, like, look, you know, we don't want people getting lost. We can't survive out here overnight. You really shouldn't be going back there, because I guess maybe they had to rescue some people. I get what he means. Like, not everybody should be coming up onto the mountain right now. I think I'm equipped for exploring, but I don't think I'm gonna make summit today. So I'm gonna go like probably less than a half mile that way just to get to Wellman's Divide, scope out the trail a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna head towards that way, scope out the area, and then decide maybe if I want to come back in January or maybe March, because I'm pretty comfortable going through snow now. I might get different snowshoes. I don't think these are the right ones for me. These might be fun on flats, but I don't think it's really working for me in the incline, so I'll have to do a little bit more research. I think what I'll do is I'll save these snowshoes for, like, if I want to have a friend come up with me and we'll just snowshoe around long valleys. So these are still good for that. You know, it'll be fun playing out in the snow. So yeah, I might do that. Oh, it's another thing. When you're hiking in snow, ice falls from trees. Because I guess like it gets snowed on, it gets refrozen in the tree branches, and then they just fall in like giant chunk of ice, and these are like 1 pound chunks. So I'm trying to avoid walking under trees because I don't want to get, especially if there's like a pile of ice under the tree, I'm going to stay away from that because I don't want to get pelted, get pelted by ice, which is like a really bad nightmare of like Alfred Hitchcock's hail, mysterious hailstorm from the tree. Like I don't want any part of that. Yeah, I'm a little bit hungry, so I'm gonna have a snack and then I'm gonna keep going. All right, I went off trail a little bit to just try to get to Wellman's Divide before 2 o'clock. And this is just blocks of ice that fell from the trees. You can kind of still see ice up there. So you don't want to roll an ankle here. It looks like that way's Wellman's Divide. Yeah, at least catch some views. It's not a summit view, but some view. So let's go. So just a short while later, I make it all the way to Wellman's Divide, and I get to see an amazing view of the Mount San Jacinto State Wilderness. These are some of the best views that I've seen outside of Yosemite National Park, so it makes sense that the Pacific Crest Trail actually comes very close to the Wellman's Divide. There's the trail that's going to go all the way to the top of Mount San Jacinto. I didn't take it that day. And over here, we're about to see the fork of the trail that goes down to Idlewild and meets up with the Pacific Crest Trail. So I spent a couple more minutes hanging out, enjoying the view before I headed back down. All right, so now I'm heading back down, and it's like really weird trying to find the trail. Like, I don't know exactly where the trail is, but I have my GPS. I know I'm supposed to head X amount away from that viewpoint over there, because I'm supposed to be going down into, but if I go this way, it's kind of flat. And I guess with snowshoes, you have more options because I'm not going to post hole. I just need to make sure I don't slip on the powder. So continue rolling. Yep. So you do sink a little bit when you're on fresh powder. But going down is a lot more easier because I guess I can press my whole foot in when I'm going down, versus when I'm going up, I kind of on the tippy toes, and that's when it's fresh powder, I just lose complete traction. And I almost fell just standing around demonstrating this. But yeah, I'm just gonna Kupo down. I think the trail is that way, so let's start heading in that direction. But look at these go! Going downhill, these are kind of helpful. Just gotta make sure I don't accidentally ski down. So pro tip is you might have to stomp down a little bit, just make sure it's in the snow. All the crampon bits are in there, because if you're not all the way in there and you lift the other foot up, basically these become really short skis. And I don't want that to happen. All right, check it out. I descended this little hill here using the squat slide. So I kind of just sat on my snowshoes while I was in them and just kind of slid down because it was just too steep to hike. So now I want to go in this direction. As you can see, I've gone off trail a little bit on purpose because I wanted to take a slight shortcut back. I wasn't confident climbing this powder with snowshoes, but going down, it's easier because when you're not exerting on the way up too. If you lose your footing, you just kind of have to at least keep your balance over your snowshoe. And if you're a little bit more deliberate about the steps and you're not going to lose your balance, or if you encounter something like this, you just slide down. Although there were a couple of steeper slides that I just wasn't going to risk doing because I don't want to snowball, like cartoon snowball down these hills. So I'm heading towards the campsite in Round Valley right now, and then hopefully take the shorter trail, the snowshoe trail back, because I don't think I could have made it up, but I'm going to see if I can check it out on the way back. So the goal here is to not go any uphills. That's where we're aiming for right now. The shortest number of miles that don't involve too much uphill. All right, let's keep going. Look at this super amazing snowbank. This would be a really good place to learn how to snowboard. I'm going to make a note of this location. I don't know if it's legal to snowboard here, but gentle slope, nothing in the way, free. Well, you pay the $28 something plus the $10 parking, so $40 for the bunny slopes, which is still a lot cheaper than the resorts. Except I guess I got to haul the snowboard up here too, which might be kind of hard. I think I'm going to go make a snowman to freak some people out. All right, so this snow is the wrong consistency for the snowman. So I wrote a message for Mom, hoping she can see that from heaven. I think this is the most snow I've seen in my life, because I live in Southern California and there's not a lot of snow. But I kind of wish I had more time to play, but I gotta get down the mountain. I gotta get to the tram station before dark. That's the goal. Yeah, you know what? It might be kind of fun to camp up here in spring, because I don't think they let you camp up here now because they turn the water off and everything. There's still the outhouses you can use. But imagine cooking dinner in this, like with this view. Of course, you still have to sleep on snow, so that might kind of suck a little bit. But so pretty. Look at that. So pretty. So I took a couple more seconds to just take in the view and watch as the sun set over the mountain and just appreciate being here in the moment. I see some tracks here, so people are snowshoeing or hiking here. So I might have to take the longer way just to avoid trying to climb Powder. As if we can see from video where I talked about climbing Powder earlier, it doesn't quite work when I have to go up Powder. Going down Powder, fine. So I don't see like an obvious downhill. Maybe flat, maybe uphill, so I might have to do some uphill climbing. So we're still doing good on time. There's still sun. Got like maybe another hour and a half of good sun, and then things are looking kind of gonna be a little bit darker, but I'm less than a mile and a half back to the trailhead probably. So let's go. All right, so I did some off-trail snowshoeing, and I was gonna see if I can take like the path of least resistance down to my target, with eye on the map, of course, because I don't want to just randomly go down something and then get stuck. So I had to come back onto the trail, and the reason for that was I kept running into stuff like this, right? So I would kind of come down, and then going down wouldn't be so bad, but then I'd get like a whole tree in the way that there's no obvious way to climb over, and then I'm kind of stuck down there. And I did get stuck. I had to crawl under a couple of limbs and then find a good place to kind of crawl back out of this river, because it was just too powdery. I had to get on my hands and knees and kind of still use a little bit of the crampons in my snowshoes to climb back up. And it wasn't even this steep, and it was exhausting. So it was not a pretty sight. So I've decided to join up with the trail again so that I'm not going to run into any issues. I think when I did this part this morning, I was wearing crampons. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, no, I might already be in my snowshoes, because I think I'm still in the Round Valley camp area. So I'm just going to keep the snowshoes on until I get to the part where there's like a little switchback, because when it gets too narrow to use the snowshoes anymore, then the crampons actually have better grip on kind of a slide. So if I'm not going to sink in, I'm going to put the crampons on. It hasn't snowed anymore since I started, so I'm just going to stay on the trail now, because I don't want to get stuck having to play up, down, alley-oop over down trees. There's a lot of dead trees in this state park, which is good if I ever get stuck out here. I know if I'm desperate, I can find dead wood to burn, even though you're not supposed to have campfires here. I think if I'm stuck outside, I might change my tune on that if it gets cold enough, because it's already kind of getting colder. The sun is setting on the west down here, so the temperatures have notably dropped. This morning when I climbed up, I also was exerting more energy, so I didn't even need gloves, but now like I need the gloves, and then even these aren't kind of keeping them warm enough, because when I had to get them in the snow to climb, the fingers got really cold. Right hand's kind of freezing to death right now because I have the glove off because I'm holding the button. So this is cold. Oh no, it's cold. It's getting cold again. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna stop filming so I can put the glove back on. It is cold. So one of the cool things about hiking in snow is that the snow acts as a sound dampener. And because it's a lot quieter than usual, I get to really focus on what I'm seeing during the hike and really appreciate the amazing views that I'm getting during this hike in Mount San Jacinto. So I'm still going. It's 5.2 miles right now. I don't know what elevation I'm at exactly, but I know I'm in the flat stretch right now, so I could probably switch to my crampons if I want to. But right now, still wearing snowshoes. I don't think I've passed the part this morning where I put them on. But honestly, everything's starting to look kind of the same. So they're still working right now. They're not getting in the way. I've gotten used to wearing them. I'm gonna keep them on until the trail gets kind of weird, and then I'll probably put the crampons back on because it's got better grip on hill, and they are lighter, so I think that'll help as well. So, all right, I'm gonna keep going. So I think this was a tree that was in the way this morning when I hiked it, because here are the tracks that I came down on when I went around it this morning. So it looks like somebody came here and chainsawed their way through. Probably the state parks volunteers and staff. So that's cool. I don't have to do that crazy climb around because that was super powdery. I was kind of dreading this part. Looks like I can just walk right through, so let's go. Might be a little bit, it's kind of debris in the way. Also, the trail's kind of getting narrow for the snowshoes because there's a little bit of a drop off over here. Yeah, it looks like they just chainsawed this because you can see the wood chips. If these weren't here this morning, now those are over there. Yeah, that was the last tricky part I was dreading having to do. Looks like somebody came up here, hauled the chainsaw up and saw through it, so that's super awesome. Thanks, staff person or volunteer. That's really awesome. All right, I'm gonna go back and put my hand back in my glove now because it's cold. The snow is definitely more packed here. No chance of any powder. So I'm not really slipping. I think the snowshoes are kind of overkill at this point, but I'm just too lazy to sit down and find a place to change them right now because anytime I sit down on a rock, my butt gets cold because every single rock is covered in snow, or it's just really cold generally. So I think I'm gonna power my way back the last bit here. I'm not really afraid of slipping, but the sun is obviously setting now and the temperature's getting lower. So I don't know what it was before, but it's definitely colder now than it's been the whole day. Holding up pretty well in terms of the altitude. But yeah, I just ran out of time. It wasn't fast enough on the hike. I didn't start as early as I could have. So Wellman's Divide is kind of where I ended up, and that's okay. Rather that than some insane summit hike. And then I'm like hiking back in the dark. You know, I did take some shortcuts on these switchbacks because I had snowshoes on. And when I could see that it was safe to snowshoe down to where the trail was, I'm taking that shortcut just because I'm not hurting any plants because I'm just going over the snow. I guess the expectation is you kind of go off trail sometimes when you go on snowshoes. And then I had the park ranger correct me again when I called something a trail when it was a route, because routes aren't maintained, only trails are. And there's a lot of stuff in the way on the routes that I tried doing myself. I think if I try this again in the snow, I'm gonna stick with the standard trail and just have crampons as long as there's no avalanche danger. Yeah, it'll probably be next spring though. I don't know about coming back when it's got more snow. Maybe, it depends. I might keep my tabs on how that's going. I really don't see doing this summit in the snow at my fitness level right now. So I might try to come back and do that in the spring after I've trained a little harder. Yeah, my phone's down to 5% power, so I'm just gonna try to book it to the finish. And then that way I can plug it into my battery. All right, let's go. So I made it back to the ranger station just in time before it started to really get dark and hung out with a local celebrity. Look at this super cute snowman. Ah, people keep knocking over that pine cone. Lame. But yeah, I was holding it, so I'm gonna see if I can fix it. It's the ramp up. It's kind of icy and slippery at parts, so you gotta be careful. Alright, the sun's just setting. You can still see a little bit of light over there past the mountain range. I've seen like 3 people slip already. Very, very dangerous ramp. The view's awesome. Check it out. Hey. Alright, so that was the hike. I'm back at the mountain station. I'm gonna get some food to eat. But it's a good hike. I didn't make it to the top, but still made it to the part where there was a view. Alright, back to the station. A visitor center here, and they got exhibits. I guess that is a bobcat. Oh, I guess it's a game you can play. Animal, birds.
May I have your attention, please? Camille, please come to the second level departure area.
There's hats you can buy. Official state park merchandise. Oh my gosh. Oh, I can't believe I missed this last time. So I'll be back for some of these. Inventory. Oh, lots of cool stuff. Alright, now let's get back upstairs, see if I can get a seat for food. I don't know. I have a sad. I came to this restaurant, but I guess they have limited hours, so I have the takeout stuff. But the restaurant at the bottom is actually better, so I think I'm just gonna take the tram down and end up eating there. Alright, so that's the view. You can see the city lights below. Moon's pretty strong. They were 8,000 feet up. This is the exterior view. It's low light. I don't know how good it's capturing this, but it's cool. And they have a Christmas tree up top above the building station. And there's the restaurant that's closed. Alright, so the tram ride down was wild. It wasn't the ride itself, but there was this baby that would not stop crying, and like not sniffles, sad cry, but screaming to awake the dead cry. And she was crying in the waiting room, and then she was crying in the tram, and then some guy yells out like, "Put a sock in its mouth." And I'm like, that was not necessary. And then that dude started having like a fight with like the father of the baby girl, and it was just like the dad was like, I'm gonna put a fist in your mouth. It was just like, oh my god. It was like they were fighting the way down, and then they were fighting for like another 5 minutes in the parking lot after they got out of the tram. And it's like, God, just go home. You're making your day worse. I don't understand. Like, both of them, like, they were just standing there having the fight, and it's like super awkward because like the one dude had another hiker, she was with him, and she didn't say anything, and then the dude with the kid had like a mom and like another kid, and it's just like, just walk away. Like, why would you stand in the parking lot and have more fights? So I kind of waited a couple of minutes to see if I needed to call the cops, but I think they all like finally disbanded and went. But that was crazy. Like, what a crazy way to end a hiking day. So we get down to the lower level tram station, and the store's closed, so there's not even a soda I could get. Like, I should have gotten a soda up top first and then came back here and got something, but like, yeah, everything's closed, and it's not even that late. It's like 6:30. That's fine. I still have my Starbucks coffee from this morning, and it's perfectly chilled because it's been cold in the car. But when I get home, I need a drink. Like, the hike wasn't that bad. It was actually pretty interesting. But yeah, that last part with the tram ride was just, ooh. Despite the somewhat interesting ride back down the mountain on the tram, I still had a really good time on the hike. I got to see a lot of great views, hike in snow, and also got to check out a state park that may not be on your radar if you're not from California. And special thanks to the ranger or volunteer that cleared the fallen tree from the path so I could easily hike back down the mountain. And with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.